Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. Emotional support for spouse. Looking for some advice. Wife has had MS for more than 20 years. Lately I feel myself being frustrated and I know that negatively affects how I react to her. That's not fair to her and I wish I could find a place to chat in a support group for spouses. Live in the East Bay of SF. Firstly, I just want to say that anyone affected by MS can post here. This place is supposed to be safe for all those needing support, so I hope if you're comfortable that you'll use this outlet. That said, I would understand if you wanted something specific to spouses to those who have MS. There is a caregivers subreddit, s/caregivers, but I don't frequent there myself, so I'm not sure how active it is. I also recommend therapy. My spouse and I did sessions both alone and together when I was diagnosed, and I suspect it will become a common thing used over our relationship. It's important to have a place where you can express your concerns and feelings, and an impartial third party can be very helpful. Also, check out the MS Society in your neighborhood. My city in Canada has 3 MS support groups, one for 40 and under, one for everyone, and another for caregivers. It's always nice to meet individuals face to face who are going through similar things as you. Thank you. As I saw someone say therapy, I'd like to second it. It doesn't have to be this weird thing people do, it just helps you both understand each other better. Also, there is a MS Discord server which I think includes caregivers, but I will check on that. There is also a chronic pain Discord I'm in if your wife does suffer from that. I'll go and check those and get back to you soon. That is actually perfect if it works out. This is her major issue. She is dealing with severe daily pain. My mom is my primary care person. She belongs to a Facebook group for MS caregivers. It's called The Other Side of MS. She loves it. She says it really helps her. It's advertised as a safe place for MS caregivers to vent and get support from one another. I know Facebook isn't for everyone, but hope that helps. Thank you. Check and see if your local MS Society has a support group or access to respite care. You are not alone and there is help available. Thank you. A little fun with my son. Fluff. So my son is so proud as he will be playing with me and a few of my friends for the first time. We make it a $25 buy-in cash game to make it safe and fun for him, and he uses his own money. A cool experience for me actually. First hand dealt flop is KCQCJC and I have ACTS. One of my friends and my son are betting into me and I am feeling a little bad for my son. My son and I get it all in on turn and I am hoping a club doesn't come, as maybe he has a flush already and would be cool if he won his first hand. River is a blank and he says I have a straight with T9. Thinking I won until he turns over his cards and they are both clubs. The damned kid flopped the stone cold nuts straight flush in his first live poker hand. Soon my other son starts playing also. Just a cool experience overall, and that first hand will be a great story for him forever. At that point you have to berate him. Tell him he's not invited back if he is going slow rolling. Don't let him beat you in spots like these. In my opinion you should ground him for at least 2 weeks. Flopping the stone nuts against your father is plain wrong. I did call him some names for sure and laughed a lot. I was also thinking how happy I was this didn't happen in the bigger games I typically play. What a nasty flop. In the end he hugged me so I couldn't be too pissed. But I did make him get up and get me a drink. Ha ha. That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. Put him up for adoption. Best answer. Ha 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 ho ho. It's all downhill from here, kid. Smile. I would have hit him to remind him that I'm still the alpha dog. Can't have some young upstart challenging me. Question about decreasing Seroquel medications. My wife started her first manic episode ever a couple of months ago. Doing better but still feeling some urges. Her lamictal was increased over the last 4 weeks and Seroquel was added as a bridge towards the lamictal higher dose kicking in. Now that she is doing better, her Seroquel is being decreased with the goal of ending it. I am wondering about other experiences with decreasing Seroquel and how this went, what we should be looking for, etc. A problem with Seroquel is it is very sedating and lamictal isn't as sedating. It is also important to note that lamictal is better for treating bipolar depression rather than mania, although it does help stabilize mania a little. So this creates a challenge, as the Seroquel is decreased, insomnia becomes an issue, should be a very short-term issue if it is tapered correctly. However, as your wife becomes more sleepless, this can lead to more manic-like symptoms. Then lamictal isn't exactly the best at treating that mania. Especially mania rather than hypo. So, really over the course of the next few months, realistically, you should be on the lookout for manic-like behavior. Sudden spending, hypersexuality, talking fast, sleepless nights, which serve to only worsen mania. However, really this is just a prediction, a generalization. It's impossible to say exactly what will happen. Everyone experiences bipolar disorder and medication differently. Some people feel as if Seroquel has slight antidepressant effects. So while coming off Seroquel, your wife could go the opposite way and feel a little more depressed than usual. Getting her body comfortable through tapering and with a new medicine is a long process. Months. And usually there are breakthrough symptoms during this time. While done by a psychiatrist, these symptoms should never become severe or serious. But it is still probably best to avoid making big decisions until you guys know she is stable. This is so helpful. Thank you. This jives with my perception of my PWBP experience with Seroquel. She uses it only occasionally, low dose, 25 milligrams, and is on lamictal daily. Seroquel makes her very sleepy, often for days after she takes it. It can also help nudge her toward depression, or feeling gross, like everyone hates her, thinks she's a loser, etc. She still needs it sometimes, and always regrets it, but knows there's nothing that works for what she needs it for, like when she hears voices. Sorry to be vague, but that's the best I can do tonight. Edit, I like this post about Seroquel from the BP1 perspective. I was weaned off Seroquel from 600 milligrams to 0.25 recently. It took place over weeks. I just got progressively less drowsy. I didn't notice any negative effects. Thank you. Get an Apple Watch, Fitbit or some other sleep monitor to give you early warning. Stunned and numb. How did this happen? Needs support. So I am that guy that everyone is jealous of, saying they cannot believe what an amazing marriage I have after 25 years. I am the guy who advises others about infidelity in their marriage. I am the guy that knows my wife will never cheat on me so I can be free and safe in all things in my marriage. I am the guy whose wife tells me that her divorced friends say all the time that they are jealous of how well I treat her and that she better not mess this up. Somehow I am now the guy that discovered today that my wife had an affair last year. I confronted her. She at first said it was an emotional affair. I pressed and 10 minutes later she almost had sex and did fool around with him. 30 minutes later they had sex once, but it was awful. Every time she swore on our kids, our dogs, on anything and everything that there was nothing more. An hour later it was they had sex 3 times, but that's really the end, and she is now finally telling the truth. The drip 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 of information. I never thought it would be me in this position. It's truly blindsiding and destabilizing, isn't it? I had previously made all the same statements you did. On year 18 my reality came crumbling down. It was so hard to believe the person I loved above all others, who I gave 100% of myself to every day of my life, who had millions of opportunities to betray me, and never did, who made me believe that she was the one person I could believe in, that would give me faith in others, shattered my illusions so suddenly and violently with her infidelity. There's lots of advice I could give, but since things are fresh, here's all I can recommend right now. Take care of you, eat, exercise, get space from your wife, and get into individual counseling ASAP. You will be in shock for some time. This is traumatic. Do not leave the house. If need be, get her to stay with family so you can have your space. It's the least she can do right now. Do not offer reconciliation right now. You need to sit with this and process your situation without the panicking, knee-jerk reaction some people have, who then to try and restore a sense of normalcy. Not a good idea in the long run. Do not drink, do drugs, and remove anything you may use to numb yourself. See a lawyer. You need to be informed about what life would look like in divorce. You may not go down that route, but be informed and know all your options before you make your decisions. I'm so sorry you are here. You deserve better than this. Follow the points until your shock wears off. If you don't know what to do, read these points. You will be in shock for some time. This is traumatic. It absolutely is. And to a certain extent, it's a self-induced trauma. We delude ourselves every time we fall in love. We actually believe that the relationship is different, special. That she would never do anything like that, she only has eyes for me. That's why we're so blindsided that it's actually traumatic. People tell me I'm jaded for not believing in the fantasy that you can 100% trust someone else, but from what I see and have personally experienced, all the normies in love are the crazy ones. This is the way. I hope you all find peace, love, and healing. So sorry op. I was married 18 years when I found out. When and how did you find out? Are you going to ask for a divorce? You absolutely need to consult a lawyer tomorrow, Monday morning. She has been lying to you every day for over a year. You don't know the whole truth. Is he married? OBS has to and needs to know. Do not touch her again and she has to leave the house. If she won't go, she must move to a different room. Tell her you will be researching lie detector tests in your area. Start the 180, only talk to her about kids and finances, nothing else. Split the accounts in half and put yours into an account she does not have access to. Stop any direct deposit of your checks. Tell everyone. Do not let this hide in the dark. Don't touch alcohol and join a gym. It is a fantastic way to take the stress away and get into your best shape. Get these 3 books, they are game changers. Cheating in a Nutshell, Leave a Cheater, Gain a Life, Codependent No More. Get a full panel STD check done including AIDS. Guys do not recover well. After 20 years, those men that have been cheated on and still in a happy relationship are less than 4%. Good thing we live many years past 100, so that won't matter. You were in this same marriage and didn't cheat. She did. She on the other hand threw away your love as she gave herself to him and did things with him that she never did with you. They always find that out. If you have kids and you choose to raise them in a broken home where a parent is depressed and broken, that is cruel. They need to be raised in 2 loving homes where cooperative co-parenting is going on. What you had is dead. You will from this point on always have a third person in your marriage as long as you are with her. It will never ever be the same again, and you will never ever look at her the same, much less trust anything she says or does again. Excellently and well put. Thank you and thanks to whoever gave the poster gold, folded hands. But it's so terrible that it had to be said, and and all the other betrayed, has to get through this horror now. Hope this helps him some, cause it really sucked having to write it, pensive face. Thank you and thanks to whoever gave the poster gold, folded hands. I'd hate for anyone to think it was me, so just FYI, not me, but I thank them for you. Embarrassed smiley face, angelic face, smiley face. Sorry, brother. Ask to see all her electronics and media. Check locations. Insist on a polygraph to get a confession. Get his name, tell his wife right away for a second pair of eyes on them. Talk to a lawyer. File for divorce if she doesn't take substantial reconciliation steps, like stopping the trickle truth. Most importantly, take care of yourself. Polygraphs don't work. They often are extremely effective as you pull into the parking lot of the firm that gives them. That's what everyone likes to repeat. Not looking for a court of law standard, just need to make the wife's cheeks pucker up enough and stop truth trickling. The op doesn't need one at this point. He knows enough to remove her from his life. That is what he should do. It's time to execute the advice that you have likely given many times. 180, Grey Rock, speak to a lawyer to ensure you understand your rights. Put in place what you require to move forward. Ask for a written timeline, make sure she knows that if any new discoveries happen after that is given to you then you are filing for divorce. Make her read it to you. If she won't disclose to the AP's BS, then she is protecting him over you. If the AP is a co-worker, she has to change jobs. Full open devices, location policy. She has to tell her family and friends what's going on. Ensure you can distinguish between remorse for causing you pain, and regret for getting caught. If the former you may choose to reconcile, the latter means she will just be more careful next time. First of all, sorry you are facing this. I'm sure you are stunned and numb. Please take care of yourself now, i.e. nutrition, hydration, sleep, exercise, etc. The stress of infidelity pegs the scale and it is cumulative. PTSD in cases just like yours is very real. You are gonna have to take care of some issues immediately. STD tests for you. Start practicing some form of the 180 right away. Find a good therapist for yourself to have an objective sounding board. Make sure they specialize in infidelity trauma recovery. Do not get into marriage or couples counseling right now. As for her, take some time to decide what you want to do. To willfully betray a 25-year marriage is nothing less than catastrophic. Most would say your marriage ended last year, you are just now getting the memo. I tend to agree. The trickle truth, minimizing and lying is part of the course, but it's so destructive. It's also a barometer of her readiness and willingness to reconcile should you choose to do so. Right now she's 1,000 miles from that and is continuing to obfuscate. BTW, you do not yet know if the affair is over. It could well be going on and she's just admitting to part of it to throw you off the trail. See an attorney right away. Regardless of what you decide, you need to know what your rights are. Find out who the affair partner is and if they're married, inform the spouse ASAP. Require her to go no contact with the AP and get an STD test. Some guys automatically get paternity tests for their kids regardless of age because, you know, once a cheater. Tell her you require a complete timeline of the affair with dates, times, places, sex acts, the works, and that you will be verifying with a polygraph. If she balks at any of this, you know where you stand. Again, so very sorry and good luck. Keep posting. There is more. Don't believe her. No, that's not the end of it. This is the tip of the iceberg and there are most likely other affairs. Get a lawyer, get a therapist, inform family and friends for support, and start your North Carolina. If you decide to work things out. If it's a co-worker then you inform HR and his significant other. I would do this regardless if you decide to reconcile or not. You schedule a polygraph test without her knowledge. They can take drugs to later the results. Have a set of questions ready. How many affairs, how many people, sexual acts, flirting, online, nudes, also very important if any of her friends knew and helped cover up and if they cheated as well, etc. Then both of you sign for separate therapy and marriage counseling. She needs to come clean to everyone and be the one to contact the so in front of you. Complete transparency, make sure to include this in the polygraph if she had deleted and covered her tracks. Don't trust anything she says. Take your time and grief but get support. Personally, I would advise to leave her and scorch earth, but that's me. This is terrible and all too familiar to me. Wife nuked our marriage and family after 15 years this past February. Many here have left you excellent advice. Please heed it. My heart goes out to you and feel free to DM me anytime if you need to talk/vent. Soon she will be joining her divorced friends and they can commiserate in their misery and idiocy together. You're surrounded by lots of traumatic and broken people. Best to remove them from your life and focus on healthier relationships. That includes your terrible STBX. The truth is just starting to get trickled. You can be assured there is more. Unfortunate, in the end, it was only you who kept the marriage, it was you who kept your family together, in the end it was you who really loved what you had, while your wife ducked another guy. The bad thing that, everything what did you have died, when this woman chose to duck another guy. Trust died, now your whole story is a farce. Hopefully your children are truly yours, since from now on, the truth does not exist. I recommend that you take some time alone. If it is possible for her to leave the house, she took her choice from her, she should leave her. Think carefully about what you want, don't sweep under the rug, don't turn into a doormat, and please don't dance the choose me dance, it's so demeaning, humiliating, and you don't deserve it, and don't hide it, you haven't done it nothing bad. Real brother, what is your idea, what do you want to do? Sorry you joined our club. Sure seems like a lot of wives step out on otherwise healthy relationships. Lol, can't help but laugh. This is the one club I thought I would never be part of, but I was so wrong. None of us thought we would be in that position. Our crime was trusting someone that turned out to be not worthy of our trust. I am sorry, but we both know that she is still being deceptive by trickle-truthing you while you were having to drag it out of her. That is fatal to a relationship and to any chance of reconciliation should you choose. You are now left with doubt about anything she has said or what she has been doing in the past. Just don't doubt yourself or allow her to blame shift. I am including a link to a site with helpful information. Reach out anytime. Update as we move a few days past D-Day and figure out the future. Update. So more news and context. Last year my wife of 25 years cheated on me. It went on for about 2 months. She slept with him weekly when she went out on the weekends. I found out 4 days ago and she dripped info for a day. Then she came clean. I have had 2 therapy sessions and we have talked a great deal. It was ugly at first and I contacted a divorce lawyer. About 24 hours in she changed. It became all about how I felt and what I wanted. It became about listening to me and how she could help me. The very important context is that my wife was diagnosed as bipolar 2 years ago when suicidal. I have been a caregiver quite a bit, but the worst for our relationship was when she became manic, for the first time, last spring. She was drinking very heavily and running away from being a wife and mother. Absolutely nothing like anything she had done before. She up to then was an amazing wife and mother. Over the spring she became properly medicated and slowly came back to be herself as we had known her before, for 25 years. My therapist asked me to be truthful and answer if I think she would have ever cheated had she not been manic. I said no. My wife has taken full responsibility but has also said that was not me. She takes her medicine and does what is needed to stay healthy, which I know is hard considering her disease. She had another short manic episode this spring, but she was out of control for less than a day and I do not believe a man was involved in any way. I gave her a get out of jail free discussion. She could say anything that had happened and I would not leave if she was truthful. But if I find out in the future she left anything out, the marriage will be over. She told me that when manic and in Vegas last year she may have kissed a guy. She doesn't remember as she was so drunk, but a friend said she thought it happened. That was it. Nothing more, well except the 2-month affair of course. She told me that a couple of months ago she ran into the guy and they talked. They had a drink together and talked and my wife said they would never see each other again. She gave him a hug and walked away and has never contacted him in any way and does not have any desire to. Lastly, we just moved a long way away for work. New house and everything. Not sure if it matters, but I think it adds security. In the end I do not believe it would have happened if she had not been manic and unmedicated. So I am not at this point going to throw away 25 great years together before D-Day. Wow, it hurts so much. But I am trying. Can you be manic every weekend for 2 months? That seems convenient. She saw him every weekend. When they went to the bar for closure they hugged. That shows emotional bond. She may be bipolar but she also knew what she was doing as well. I can absolutely confirm that individuals suffering from BPD that are improperly medicated can, and often do, have manic or depressed episodes lasting several weeks. They will also rapidly cycle through their emotional state and go right back into another long-term episode. From what I understand, bipolars are perfectly aware of what they're saying and or doing. They just have little to no control over it when triggered. You can. A manic episode can sometimes last for months before returning to normal. Also, alcohol exacerbates a manic episode, prolonging the return to normal. Now this doesn't excuse the cheating in my book, but it does provide some insight at least. But just the weekends in the month? We don't know what she did during the weekdays. All he said is what happened on weekends. Manic episodes can manifest in other ways during the week that are unimportant to the story. She was manic the whole time, but the weekends were when she was able to go out and get herself in trouble. That makes more BPD sense and less excuse angle. I don't know enough about this disease to say if you should really point with your finger at it for the reason of what she did or not. But I have to say that it makes me wonder that her go-to reaction to a manic episode is to cheat on you. Be it during the one in her affair or the one in Vegas. Edit, the manic episode at her affair lasted 2 months? Seriously? You don't think that during this time the manic episode ended from time to time and she still went back to her lover? But there are other things that need to be addressed as well, if you want to stay with her. She met with her lover afterwards and went to drink with him. She deceived you there again. Going to drinks with him, even if it was for closure, was more important than to respect you and ignore the guy. That is something she needs to work out. She doesn't respect you like you respected her. In that context I would also ask her, if she ever got tested for STDs during or after her affair. I somehow doubt that. Your wife puts herself way above you and your marriage. That is something she needs to work on. Next problem, her alcohol intake. In your post, alcohol is mentioned way too often. That needs to stop right away. No more alcohol for her, ever. Bipolar is a disease that can affect her state of mind and her mood, that much I know. Guess what else does that? Alcohol. I doubt that it is a good idea to drink any alcohol for people who are bipolar. Then the last question is one that I have directly for you and one that I think your therapist missed to ask. When they asked you if you think that your wife would have cheated if she wasn't manic, you answered no. Now take this thought a step further. If a manic episode is the reason she cheats on you, which she did in every episode she had until now, then are you willing to accept that she will do it again when her next manic episode hits her? Because that will happen. One day she will be manic again. If you are lucky, then it is just for a short time, if you are lucky. I wish you all the best on your way forward. Hit the nail on the head. On Reddit, BPD seems to have become a convenient license to stray. WS caught cheating, shows BPD ID, BS forgives instantly. Also, the therapist with that question seems to have a green flagged affair and kind of indirectly told BP to forgive. Which again raises questions for these therapists as to what exactly their job is, to show the true picture to BS or to anyhow convince them for reconciliation. Lastly, OP believes physical distance from AP equals safety. Did the affair end only cause we knew they were moving? In today's time, emotional affairs can happen with someone in Antarctica living in an igloo. I don't think the therapist was at fault in this instance. Honestly, OP sounds like they want reasons to stay, rather than looking to see if he should for his own well-being or not. If framed exactly as he said the therapist asked, then the therapist was asking him to think critically about his relationship and her behavior, and if she was a loyal individual before she started being manic. In reality, I think OP, and she both, is lying to himself. I have dated 2 women with BPD. One was moody and slept all day and the other cheated recklessly. Cheating is only something you do if it's excusable in your mind. A lot of people get this confused and it's pretty obvious he has too. This affair is going to plague his thoughts and feelings until he asks the real questions of himself that matter. It doesn't necessarily mean he should leave, but he circumvented the point the question makes on purpose. Do you feel like your wife is a loyal person deserving of your loyalty, in reflection of the life you've shared? How much of her cheating is her condition and how much is who she is? In the context I just gave him about my exes, does he still believe loyalty is in her character? Has she gone to therapy to dig up why she turned to cheating in her mania? Because even paranoid schizophrenics usually found their false reality in the way they perceive the world and relationships. She may need a full break from reality to cheat, but it brings up why that was her mental escape button. A therapist that just mirrors your own thinking, isn't really worth much and is stealing from you, in my opinion. A close family member suffered from the same and engaged in a lot of unsafe behavior prior to being diagnosed and appropriately medicated. The issue to resolve is this. Your W placed herself in places and with people where she was at risk if and when she was a manic. She owns this if she was aware of her medical condition. If she was not, then I do believe that people suffering from mania and not fully in control of their actions based on our own experience. Proper diagnosis, treatment and modification of one's lifestyle to avoid being placed in such situations is key. I think you do have a reason to attempt to forgive your W. Whether you can is another matter. You don't have to decide right away. I highly recommend taking at least a week away from her. No rush to decide. You found out so she never told you herself out of guilt? She trickle-truthed you initially, she could be doing that still. She says she met him again when she wasn't manic. But only for a drink and hug. 2 adults who have sex meet for a drink and a hug only? Do you believe that after all her other lies? I think just giving it some time will be beneficial, if it is extremely hard to think clearly when you're around them and all you want is for it to have never happened. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night. Wherever you are.